Hello, Michael. Welcome to this conversation. I've been looking forward to have this conversation with you. We have met before on the internet, but that has been some while now. Your work is very much focused around trauma, if I understand it right. So I'm curious to know more about it.
Well, first, thank you, Philippe, for having me. I really remember our previous dialogue that we had around the pandemic, and I so enjoyed that interview and really enjoyed your book that you translated. I have it by my bedside, the reference, and just I admire your work also. And, hope one day to learn from you and to share a space with you. So thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.
Uh, Trauma. Well, like many of us, we get into the healing profession because of our own journey. If I remember correctly, I mean, you had quite a childhood. Uh, Sometimes it's a sickness or a tragedy. For me, it was my own traumas that came to the forefront after repressed memories surfaced up. So a lot of the time you can live a life not having memory of things that have happened to us. And I experienced that event uh, in a time in my life where I had a physical pain, an injury that wasn't going away. And when injuries don't go away, people usually go to the doctor and the doctor prescribes pills and then they send you, because it was a work related injury, this was before I was a therapist, they send you to a rehabilitation place, and there they prescribe you a regime or come to us 3 times a week for so long and your problem should go away. But I was one of those clients that the problem never went away. And I'm young, at the top of my game physically, and I'm debilitated by a pain that doesn't go away. And I gave up on the rehabilitation place and went and did what a lot of people do, which now I call it doing the circuit. Doing the circuit is like going from therapist to a therapist to a therapist. So I did that. I went to the chiropractor. He did an X-ray of my spine. This and this is wrong. Come so many times a week, this many weeks, it should go away. And it didn't go away. If anything, it made things worse. And then I went to the massage therapist, this muscle and that muscle and muscle imbalances. It should go away. And it didn't go away. And I went to the osteopaths and the joints and this, didn't go away. So, you know, a year of trying things and it's not going away. Right. Uh, at the same time, I fell in love for the first time, like real love. And it was quite an intense emotional relationship. And even, I would say, uh, karmic, karmic relationship. One of those unfinished business. I don't know if you had one of those, but when you meet someone and you feel like you have unfinished history with them. So even at that young age, we both felt that way, even though we met before, we have a story, and it was quite intense. So that cocktail of pain and love and karma, let's say, evoked repressed memories. And I always say, when people come into their breaking point, so to me, it was a breaking point, the amount of volume that I felt inside and the time frame created what I call a breaking point. And what's a breaking point? When you can't anymore. You can't hide, you can't run away, you can't numb, you can't escape, you can't fight through it. anymore, and you just, I can't deal with this anymore. This is too much. And that day, out of all things, what I did, which is something very unusual, I reorganized my closet. I threw everything out of my closet and reorganized it with one question running like a mantra inside of me. Why am I suffering so much? What's this suffering that I'm going through? Like, it does not make any sense. And in a way, I was almost begging, like one will beg for an answer from God. And that answer came with a flash of childhood trauma that my mind did such a good job repressing. And when I experienced it, and some people, since, being a therapist and seeing many people, that's why people can resonate with this metaphor. What I've experienced at that moment is if the floor and the walls disappear, and you engulfed in a void, of despair, darkness, and pain. And in a way, that was my breaking point. And to make a long story short, I was just really fortunate to have it at such a young age, and even more fortunate to have the courage and the guidance to deal with it directly, and to deal with it in such a way that in a few years I managed to heal. And when I healed my traumas, I remember shaving my head. Back then I had a lot of hair. I shaved it. And I was used to be known as Mike. That was my name, Mike. And I reclaimed my name, Mihael. And that was the beginning of this path. And then I chose to be a therapist, a Shiatsu therapist. Now, when I became a Shiatsu therapist, I didn't think I was going to work with trauma. I just wanted to help people. But my fortune, again, is such that the people that came to me right away, as soon as I became a therapist out there in the public, were all very, very difficult, profoundly difficult and intense clients who really were my teachers. And they forced me in a way to work with their traumas. And that went on for years. And for a while, I thought, all these people coming to me because I am who I am. I am Mihael, and I went through what I went through. So therefore, they come in to see me because of that. Like somehow it was like a magnet hook. And that was an illusion, because once I looked at the statistics for the first time, in a place like Canada, which the whole reason my whole family immigrated was because it was so safe. Once I looked at the statistics in Canada, I was blown away, because what I saw right in front of my eyes in black and white, that this so-called safe place had so much trauma. So that was a big pivotal moment for me, and a big aha moment for me, because that showed me that nothing was safe. If anything, what I learned, that when trauma happens to you in a safe place like Canada, or like Belgium, or like Holland, or like the UK, it's more likely that you would suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder than a place like Israel or Africa or the Middle East. And when people ask me why, it's because of our insular nature in our society. So the more insular the society is, the more it breeds post-traumatic stress disorders, or what they call complex traumas or mental illness. Once I understood that, I saw what now everywhere we see. I saw a big tsunami coming, a big wave of trauma coming before people even uttered the word trauma, because back in that day, nobody dared to say the word trauma. There was so much shame around it. And this is a period where I decided to open a center around it and put a megaphone on that subject matter, because I realized that that's underneath everything, underneath the chronic pain that we see, underneath the chronic diseases that we see, underneath what they call complex chronic pain. Uh, Once I understood that, I opened the center and tried to, ever since then, to learn as much as I can about it and to work with it. So that's the short version of your question, is why I got into trauma. Because it's everywhere. It's all around you. Most of the people around you that you know right now, they're either are aware that they have traumas or they're not aware that they have traumas, and it's causing a lot of the symptoms that we see in clinically.
Mm. Can it be that we are more aware of trauma? That we have like models now that we can use
Yes.
to work with the trauma? Because
Yes.
I'm thinking about the society I'm in here in Japan. There is not so much talk about trauma
Yes.
because it's
Exactly.
a safe place. But
Exactly.
I have learned that safe places can be very dangerous places
Bingo.
also,
Bingo.
because then, yeah, many things happen under the surface.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. And I'm
And
sure there you see it so clearly, right?
yeah,
You know, if anything, they must have, they always had high suicide rates and
of course.
rates of addiction and alcoholism.
Mm,
Workaholism is just a way of dealing with trauma. If I
of,
just
of
work,
course. Of
if
course.
I'll work 14, 15 hours a day, then I will be safe,
Mm,
right?
definitely.
Yeah.
So, could we say that we are fortunate to live in times that we have this awareness, at least in certain
Yes.
societies, like you
Yes.
in
I mean,
Canada or Europe?
it's changed so much, Philippe, and I've seen it
Mm,
change. But
mm,
wow, I went and I did a talk in a company, in a corporate company, where traditionally they would never bring a speaker like me,
mm,
never. And now also a male speaker, and it was speaking in front of 200 women in the corporate world, and I'm the only male speaker, and my subject was trauma and the
mm,
effects of it, right? So that would never, ever would have happened, you know, 10 years ago,
mm,
So I'm going into traditional markets like the financial market. I went to and did a talk in front of all the CEOs. Um, I went and did a talk in a bank, in
mm,
medical places, where again, traditionally, they would never in the past would have considered it. So now trauma is everywhere. Everybody's talking
mm.
about it. Everybody's hyper aware of it. The danger that I see with that is the identification of it, identifying as someone who has been traumatized,
Oh,
right?
okay. Yes, yes,
It's
definitely.
it's
Yeah.
it can create if one is not careful, it can create they can create a pain story, and I see that
Mm,
quite often. That can be very complicated,
mm.
and
So
they can
you,
start, yeah, sorry, they can
sorry,
start
sorry.
doing the circuit in like, but
Mm,
instead of finding a resolution, the story becomes bigger and
mm,
bigger, more complex, and it's dangerous.
mm. I try to understand. Do you mean it's when you see yourself like a victim of trauma? That's a
When you
pain
assume,
story? Yeah. Okay.
yeah, I mean, you see that clinically, people come and yes, they're in pain, but what they want, Philippe, is what they want is some kind of a change.
Mm.
They want something to be changed. If you get to know them enough time, underneath there's a story.
Mm.
We all walking around with our stories,
Of course. Mm.
and we
Mhm.
identify so much with the
Mhm.
story. The problem is a lot of people don't like their character in the story. They don't like the story, and they don't like their character, and they definitely don't like the other characters, because the other characters torment them, right? They're the cause of their suffering. So, that can replay over and over for years, a lifetime. And that's what I see constantly every day with
Mm.
people. I mean, we all in a degree do it, and that creates separation, and we all live in a we all are naturally judgers. We judge.
Mm. Mm.
We judge ourselves. We judge the governments. We judge the politics. We judge the weather. We judge our friends. We judge the family. And we live in a place where there's constant judgments. And now it's on a massive scale.
Mm.
So when you accumulate all these judgments, it just creates separation. Okay? And this is where a lot of the suffering is, right? And the illusion of separation.
Mm.
In the illusion of if and when and but I'll get my justice, then I can move on, right? But oftentimes we don't get that justice. We can wait a lifetime.
So when you talk about separation, I see it also as a separation from the body. That it's like,
Yes.
and their shiatsu or bodywork can do tremendous job. If you do it in a respectful way, in a not forcing way, and a very conscious way, I think. Mm.
And this is the power of Shiatsu, the fundamentals. There's a lot of talk about what is Shiatsu, what is really Shiatsu, right? And to me, it's distilled, and I could be wrong, but this is just my take of it, of course. To me, it's distilled into understanding who is in front of you and how their life and circumstances are creating this orchestra of symptoms and a chronic state, and then helping them in a way rearrange it. Not we're not there to fix anything. We are just there trying to really make order and flow,
Mm.
right? So oftentimes when people say to me, and I'm sure you've heard this so many times, Philippe, too, but I don't know if the Japanese do it, but I'm sure maybe the Belgians did. They come to you and they say, "Oh, Philippe, I'm so broken. Can you fix me? I've tried everything, Philippe, and I don't know. I'm just about to give up. I'm just losing all of them, and I must be such a difficult case. I'm such a difficult case. And here's all the evidence. Here's all the photocopies of everything, and I oftentimes tell them, well, nothing is broken, and it's not so complicated. All we have to focus on is how we can rearrange things and create a little bit of order for you.
Mm.
And that will bring about ease and clarity. And let's focus on that. In a way, that's what we all want, is rearranging some things to create some ease within and to have the space to facilitate the change that we can facilitate. Right? And Shiatsu provides that, you know. by, again, like bringing that unification. As you said, there's a separation from the mind and the body, and I always also say separation from the mind and the heart and the body, okay? Because oftentimes the conflict is in the heart, and forget about being disassociated from the body. The most people, from what I've discovered, and in a way why it helped me create some of the ways that I treat people, most people's conflict are quite clear. And where that conflict resides, in my discovery, is in the heart. And there's always a theme to the conflict. And then it pervades itself throughout this body and mind. But the conflict is always between the spirit and the personality. Yeah. That's why I say, what's at the heart of the matter? Like, even that saying in English, what's at the heart of the matter? Right? Let's distill it, and once we distill it, then we can start.
You know? Yeah, then it becomes simple somehow, and
It can be, and that's what I love, because and I'm sure you also are discovering it. You've been in it for over 30 years. The keys, or the secrets. You know how people say, I got the secrets to this condition. I got the secrets to this technique. But the secrets, or the keys, they're so simple in their form. And that simplicity cuts through the complexity of the mind, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the advantage we have with our body work, because the body tells us, the tissues tells us what's up. So if we have learned to listen to the body, of course, first listen to our own bodies, and then listen to all these bodies who walk into the practice. It's
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of what we do. Is I always say, listening with all your senses, and seeing what's hidden. So I always say, there's two people in front of me. There's you, and then there's the you that you built to protect you. We're always walking around with, like, some people call it a mask, but with multiple parts to a personality, and in a way, we abandon some parts of our essence, and this is where the friction is from within, between the essence and the personality. And if I can see you in a way that you've forgotten to see yourself, and I can hear what you've been aching to say, then I've provided you a space to go. Yeah. And we walk around with those innate needs. And I want someone to see me. I want someone to understand me. And when I'm not seen and understood, that creates all my pain, all my suffering. That creates all the arguments, all the conflict. Right? So as shiatsu therapists, we can see them in such a way, and that's the training. That's the art, is to see and understand them in such a way that they can't quite see it yet, or they might not even be able to say it, or they don't feel that they deserve it, or they feel that they've abandoned that they've forgotten that part of themselves. And when we are able to do that in that space, this is the beginning of healing. Yeah.
Mm. I liked very much when you were visiting Cliff, or when you had a conversation with Cliff, that you did a meditation and you bring the people back to their senses. That I enjoyed very much. First you started, if I remember right, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, I
You
remember.
started with the chest bone and with the sternum
Yes.
to open up, and then some breathing exercise, if I remember right.
Relaxing the vagus nerve, a breathing exercise. That's right.
Yeah.
Pulling the circuits, I call it. Yeah.
And then you made them open their eyes and be aware of the things around them, the smells, the feelings they have. So I see that also very much as a very important part of my work, to do simple meditations with people after the treatment to settle them in a very simple way, to bring them back to their senses. Because the Shiatsu, we bring them back to the body, to the awareness in the body, and then to bring it back in the senses. And sometimes that's something that happens naturally, that people say, okay,
Yes.
wow, I came out of the treatment and I saw the sun. And it was like the first time I saw the sun, or
exactly.
I saw the trees, I heard the birds.
Yes.
That's also my experience after long meditation retreats. That
Yes.
I go out in nature and I see nature. I experience it or I see my own life, my situation in my life in a whole different light. There is like space around it. There is, because like stress or trauma or whatever, how we can call it, it makes like the awareness shrink, and meditation treatment opens us up to the realization that there is more space, or the awareness that there is more space around things, and we see things in a whole different light.
Beautifully said. I mean, especially with trauma, right? Or any chronic state.
Yeah, stress or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. It shrinks, and that's a lot of what I do with my clients, and now with therapists too, when I'm teaching the workshop, is to teach the therapist to, when a client comes to me, they expect me to be the healer, right? That I am the therapist, therefore I should know better, therefore I should fix whatever is broken. And I always make sure that they understand from the beginning what really is going to happen, not what they fantasize will happen, or not what they've been told would happen by others, not what they've been read that will happen, or even who refer them to me. I like to create a lot of clarity. And again, the more complex the person comes to me, the more clarity I like to create. So one of the first things that I say, besides nothing is broken with you, and whatever you presented to me is not really that complicated, and I'm sure that we can get you wherever you are, but there's only one problem. And they'll say, what's the problem? The problem is you. So as long as you stay out of the way, then there won't be a problem. And it can be simple, it can be joyful, it can be very interesting. It doesn't have to be always hard. There might be some hard times, but when that time comes, if you need me to hold you, I will hold you. If you need me even to carry you a little bit, I will carry you. But at some point, I expect you to walk with me. And I will teach you everything about healing. And I will give you a tool for any issue that might come up. And all the tools that I will give you, I know that they work, and they will work very quickly. but I cannot follow you around. I don't want to monitor you, and I don't want you to be dependent on me. So in order for that to happen, I will have to teach you, and you have to be my student.
Yeah.
And I will give you the tools that are necessary to come out of this. And that's what gives me the most satisfaction, I'm sure, to you, when not only your treatments are effective, but when they start incorporating the tools that you're giving them. Okay? Because one of our responsibilities as a therapist, no matter what therapist you are, is to empower the people that come to see us. And to empower them to the best of our abilities. And when we are no longer able, to send them somewhere where they might gain some more knowledge. And I always say one of my mottos is, I'm not the healer, you are the healer. And if somebody tells you that they're going to heal you, run away from them. Because the real healing that happens, that I know, is when you decide to heal you. And that sometimes is hard for clients to assume that responsibility. And then when they say, well, I don't know if I'm able to, that's okay. If you're not able to right now, like I said, maybe you're tired, maybe you're even burnt out, and maybe you are completely unable right now. And that is absolutely okay. But at some point, I will help you bring yourself to a position where you are able. And this is the time, this will be the point where you will have to start to heal yourself too. Right? Otherwise, you're just slapping them on your back. And, this is what happens in a lot of therapeutic relationships. Assuming too much responsibility. Right? As therapists, our ego can kick in very sneaky ways, and let me pull out this technique, and let me pull out that technique, and let me do some magic here, and that all is nice and maybe effective at times, but it's dangerous, because then they're giving you all the responsibility. And this is when boundaries are crossed, and energetic boundaries are crossed, and there could be a lot of cross transference that can happen. And this is where a lot of therapists can get sick and suffer. Yeah. So I might be responsible initially because you're weak. You might even be burnt out. But at some point, I will make you responsible, and I will just be your guide. I will just guide you through it. I will provide you a quota of space, and I will provide you a quota of energy. That's the only way that it works. Yeah. What's your experience?
For me, the check is after a day's working. If I have more energy, I'm on the right track. So if I can see, okay, people enjoy the treatment, not only enjoy, but I can see that they get benefit from it, that they come back, they start to breathe again, that they start to radiate again, and that they tell me things that they want to change in their life, or the things that they tell spontaneously, okay, this happened, and now I see more clear where my problem comes from, or it happens in a natural way. So not forcing is always my device. It's being here, probably trying to be 100% at the service. But like you said, the job is up to the student. And I like that you use the word student. One of my teachers always talked about, he didn't talk about clients or patients. He talked always about students, and that brings back the responsibility to the people who come to our practice. come to our treatments. We give
Yes.
them the tools, and then, like you said, it's up to them to accept it or not.
100%. And learning how to, again, to reduce that responsibility or to drop
Of course,
responsibility.
I'm not interested to take anyone's burden.
Even you know, when people with family members, even on a personal level.
That can be more tricky. That's
Yes.
a bigger
Yes.
challenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's also can be tricky, but necessary, I find. Because also what I find with working with people symptomatically when they come with, again, a lot of their issues, you know, whatever the symptoms are. And what I've discovered that a lot of those symptoms are not even caused by them.
So how do you mean?
I'll give you a metaphor. And I love using metaphor, and I don't know if you use them in your practice, but because and I love Nick Paul's
Yeah,
work
definitely.
too,
It's
because
wonderful.
he uses metaphors a lot,
Mm,
and I've always used metaphors and even storylines sometimes.
mm.
And I find those metaphors that I've discovered that somehow came to me, all people can relate to them. So this is one of the metaphors, you know, to answer that question. You know, when people come to us, again, when especially they come to a shiatsu therapist, they usually have tried so many things. And by the time they come to us, again, they come with all kinds of, almost like a shopping list of symptoms.
Some of them.
Yes, yes. The clients that come to me for sure, trauma clients, it's
Okay.
it's intense. It's sometimes what they come with, right? And so I use this metaphor. You know, I always look at the intake form. I see how old they are, and I said, I want to propose something to you. And I always like to use that word proposal. I want to propose a theory for you, and you let me know if it resonates with you. And the theory is this: it's through a metaphor, and this is the metaphor. Me and you're gonna go downstairs. Imagine we're going downstairs, and we see you walking across the street, and you're walking across the street, and you are straining. You're straining because now you can see that you're straining because you've been carrying a big bag, and this big bag weighs about 100 pounds. And this bag you've been carrying, and then I read their age. Been carrying it for this many years. And then I read the symptoms, and it's creating this symptom, creating your asthma, it's creating your digestive problems, it's creating that knee pain, that lower back pain, the headaches, and the migraines. And you're looking at yourself carrying that bag. What would you tell yourself seeing that? And this is a question that I asked them. The answer is always so fascinating. Because a lot of the time people say, well, I'll just keep carrying it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just
I'm not interested
yes,
to
yes.
carry.
But Sam, there's a fella on Friday. He said, "Oh, I'll just keep carrying it." I said, "Okay, for how
Okay,
long?
my
How long
God.
can you carrying this for? Right? Can you carry it for 5 more years or 10 more years? And look at the symptoms and can you manage those symptoms for another 5, 10 years?" And they said, "No." Okay, so what would you then tell yourself? Oh, maybe I should drop it. Oh, good. Maybe you should drop it, but maybe you just don't know how. Correct? And they go, yes, I really don't know how. Okay. I said, what if I told you that in this bag that weighs about 100 pounds, there's 100 potatoes. Each one is a pound. What if I propose to you a concept that none of the potatoes are yours? What would you say? What would you say, Philip?
Yeah, it sounds much easier than to let go if it's not my potatoes.
Yeah, if it's not my potatoes, why am I carrying them, first of all?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
And second of all, if it's not my potatoes, then whose potatoes am I carrying?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Yes, it's a fascinating question. First of all,
Mm.
the realization that maybe a lot of the pain that I'm feeling is not even mine.
Definitely. Yeah.
Because what I've learned, and I'm sure you've seen that clinically, that pain can be transmitted.
Yeah, of course.
Suffering can be transmitted.
Mm.
And you've seen that now in Japan there for sure. I mean, one generation after another, in a way, it happens in every country, in every ethnic group, because I've seen all the ethnicities, it's just transmitted.
Mm.
And oftentimes the symptoms that manifest in the body are from pain or suffering that's not even ours.
Mm.
So that's an interesting concept to start to work with and to start wrapping the mind around and the body around. Some people say maybe I should just eat those potatoes. I said, well, you've been eating them.
That's a good way to digest them. So,
Yeah. Yes.
because that's a thing that I see somehow is that I don't know what your idea is about that. Because I don't see trauma anymore as the enemy. I see it as something there has been a period that I saw it like, okay, we have to resolve. Of course, we have to resolve this trauma. But now somehow I see it's a part of me and I can transform it somehow. It's like with the potatoes. It's like when I eat them, I absorb them, I transform it. It's a part of me, it's a part of my history, but it doesn't need to burden me. It's not like this bag that I have to carry. If I eat them, they become a part of me, and somehow it's my experience. It helped me to survive somehow. It helped me to bring me where I am now. And that sometimes I understand also with people who come to me. They have been reading about the polyvagal theory or other theories. And they
Yes.
say, oh, I have this terrible trauma. I have to work through
Yes.
it. But I see it these days more, okay, it's me. It's a part of me. Of course, it shouldn't be a burden. It's when I accept it and I can transform it through working through my body, to doing yoga, qigong, bodywork, I can discover, yeah, the goodness in the body. And this trauma is just like an experience I had before. When I talk about my own life, about my own traumas, okay, sometimes there can be a memory of them who comes to the mind,
Yes.
but
Yes.
I don't experience anymore that they burden me. And that's because of the work of meditation and Shiatsu and Kiko and working with people and being as a therapist to see the reflection and the people who come to me who are mirrors of myself. You talked just about Nick Paul. Nick helped me a lot. I had also many sessions with him where he brings me in the body. He's such a
Yes.
wonderful therapist also. So,
Yes.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't see myself as a victim of my traumas. I see it as an experience I have with me.
And it's an experience that we all have. We all have traumas. We
Mm,
come traumatized. The first trauma is the birth,
Yeah, of course.
and our lives are full of traumas.
Mm.
What people struggle with is the volume
It
and
can be
interpretation.
overwhelming. It can be overwhelming. So
The,
that
the sensory, first of all, the sensory volume, like
mm,
the volume that you experience through your senses,
mm,
the the pain of being fractured in a way. Some
mm,
people use the word fractured, some people use the word being fragmented. In Shiatsu, when your shen is disturbed and kind of you have that disassociation.
mm,
Um, so people struggle with the initial impact and in a way the break that it creates.
mm,
But where most people really struggle with is the interpretation. What do I mean by that? It's not just logically in interpreting, what happened to you and again, creating the whole narrative around it is what that interpretation does to your neurophysiology too,
mm,
because the mind affects the body. Even if it's not real, your body will experience it as real. And the mind is so clever, it will give you, in a way, it will give you the experience that you're managing, but in actuality, you're being managed. You're from that moment, the person is hijacked, and they're at the mercy of the illusion that the mind creates to gain control.
mm,
And this is where the complexity is. It's
mm,
like being in a movie, but you are experiencing the movie with your senses, so you're feeling the pain, but you haven't quite been able to disassociate and see the movie from the outside. Now, maybe you are able to with the help of a therapist, but you don't realize that you also are the projector of it.
mm,
And once you understand that you're also the projector of it, and then it's deciding, and just like you're going to edit this podcast, deciding to go into the editing room and start editing that movie, meaning changing the interpretation.
mm,
And this is where it to me, it's distilled to those two principles, volume and interpretation. So when they come and receive Shiatsu, what we help them initially is with the volume.
mm,
And then the innate intelligence, if they are ready, will change the interpretation.
mm,
Okay? And now they have in a way like a movie clip of a new experience. Now the more they're gonna put that, the more they are able to put it together, meaning the more frequently they'll come to Philippe, and Philippe can give them in a way another experience of it. The more movie clips they put together, suddenly the story is different. So the symptoms of the pain that came with that old story go away,
mm.
because what they were able to do is to change the interpretation of it. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But it's always, I find that's why I like these conversations, because I like to hear it and to confirm what I see with colleagues like you who have a lot of experience. Because every time, yeah, you hear the same thing, but you hear it a little bit different. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's like when I hear you talk about the volume, yes, definitely, it makes a lot of sense. That's something I experienced before I came to Shiatsu. I was a lot into meditation. I did many long meditation retreats. I even thought to become a monk until I
Yes.
discovered Shiatsu, and I saw, okay, for me, it's not so difficult to become a monk. It's more a challenge to be with people and to touch people, and to so that has healed me a lot. To
Oh,
to
beautiful.
be not only sitting on my cushion, because that comes, I mean, after all the retreats I had done, it came very easy to me just to sit in silence and enjoy being
I
just
did that a
there.
lot in my 20s. I did a lot of those silent
Oh, okay,
retreats too.
that's good
Yeah,
to hear. Yeah. So for
which
me,
helped
that's
me heal the volume, right? So that was
yeah.
the volume. Those retreats were what helped me probably the most at that time,
Yeah.
as a
And
young man.
that's something that is still with me. I mean, of course, I still do sometimes meditation retreat more on my own,
Hmm.
but for me, it's now part of my being somehow.
Exactly.
And when we talk
Exactly.
about the volume, okay, trauma can still be sometimes, but it's like on a very low volume in the background. And it can be triggered sometimes. I like very much
100%.
to be in different countries, because when I go back to my own country, it can be that the volume becomes a little bit higher again because it reflects the surroundings. But these days I have the tools to okay, this volume got a little bit higher. Okay, I breathe a little bit. I take a little bit distance. Then I can cope with it. And some days when I feel okay, the flow is there, then there is no problem. I can be here and I can be in chaos. I mean, the chaos around me, no problem. So yeah, it can be different from day to day, but we have the tools.
That's the
We
key.
know
Yeah.
how to center ourselves and yeah, to get back to reality.
Yeah, and
So
that's a good lesson to our clients, and I use
mm,
myself often in the exchange that I have with my students, because they're not just my students; they really are my teachers also,
mm,
right?
yeah,
They taught
definitely.
me,
Yeah.
they taught us, they taught me how to work the way that
Mm,
Mihael works these days, and how I work and what I've developed, and the way that I deliver it, and even what you see right now in front of you, is really the combination of what I had to go through and my
mm,
interaction with my clients.
mm,
And they are the one that have gifted me the tools and the approach and the how to. So that's why we always bow to the people that come to see us,
mm,
because they leave us with gifts,
yeah,
even not knowing that they're gifting us, right?
mm,
And they've helped me grow and grow up all my discomforts, because
mm,
when you are in a space with people instinctively always sense and test us. They sense us like we sense them, especially people with traumas,
mm,
because the volume that trauma creates also creates a hypersensitivity. And this is what people struggle with. The number one complaint that I get for people with trauma is the level of sensitivity that they have.
mm,
And it's like an antenna that is receiving an amount of information, and there's no filter to it sometimes. So when they come to us, people like that, when they come to us, they really are sensing us too. They are testing us. And what they're looking for is they're looking for a space and a person that can withstand the enormity, again, of their pain. And that could be their rage, that could be their terror, that could be their despair, that could be their tremendous fear and shock that they experience. So they taught me, and really, this is the practice. Can I be comfortable with their discomfort?
mm,
And if I can, then that discomfort, just like a dam that is ready to break, and all the feelings that are held underneath that are allowed to come out for the first time safely. So in a way, they are sensing always and testing, if is this the place that I can finally let go
Mm.
of all of this? Can this person hold my rage? Can they hold my vengeance? Can they hold my, those sometimes those really intense emotions that are so neatly arranged inside the person, but at a cost and with consequences that are so great. So they're always inquiring, like a therapist, analyzing, testing, and seeing if this person can be with my discomfort.
Mm.
Yeah. So they gifted me in a way. They put me in a practice where I have to be comfortable with the most uncomfortable.
Mm.
And in a way, in turn, I would also teach them by my embodiment of how to start being comfortable with their discomfort or wherever is triggering them with the usual suspects, whatever they are, right? And this is where they build that where they start to flex that intuitive muscle that can also help them with navigating through life in a more graceful way. Uh, so that's also the practice and the exchange. Okay, they are looking for that embodiment because really what they're seeking, they know that the storms are coming. The weather will come again, the thunderstorm will come, the hail will come, the night will come. Life is coming. People are coming my way, and can I deal with it? Can I show up differently? Right? So it's a beautiful exchange of learning how to turn, like you said, transmuting is the word. How to transmute the discomfort, the pain, the trauma, how to transmute it. Instead of treating it like an enemy, treating it as an exercise.
Mm.
This is an opportunity to exercise because it's not going away. So instead of treating it like an enemy, let's use this as an exercise. And we're going to use all kinds of tools. Find one that works for you. And we'll just exercise with it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Uh, I hear what you say. I find it's very, very true, and also in my experience, because I often tell the people everything is welcome here. When I see something
Beautiful.
needs
Yeah.
to be released or whatever, but it's
Beautiful.
not only
Yeah.
me saying it; it's also they experiencing and
Yes.
sensing, like you said, sensing that it's true. That okay, whatever comes up, it's. We have seen it before.
Exactly.
It's not that special. It's of course it's special in the moment, but it's always the same story or a variation on the same story somehow.
Yes.
But still, okay, things kind of surprise us. That's part of the game somehow.
Yes. Yes.
Mm,
It's
beautiful, beautiful. Mm.
yeah, it's a beautiful art of
Mm.
a sacred exchange, right? It's
Mm.
the most direct human experience, and there's very few things that are like it.
Mm. Thank you so much, Michael. I could go on and talk for a few more hours
But of course, thank you,
because
Philippe.
that's the beauty about our work. It's so rich. There are so many aspects. It's very simple, but it's so beautiful, and I'm still fascinated by our work. So I found it a very great honor that I could talk with you today and have this time together. So yeah,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me again. And
mm,
I love talking to therapists that still treat this path as if it's new and exciting, and 30 plus years into it. And I hope I hope it continues in that, in such a way for both of us. You know.
yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.